look at this particular case that's been escalated. And one of the things that's nice is that as you're a rep, as you're working this, again, you have the complete history of all the interactions, but you also have the ability to search a knowledge base here. So if you were to type in, let's say, shipping costs, actually I'll just, I'm not sure what all the solutions are in, so I can pop up a list of all of the different solutions that are in the knowledge store, and I can search keywords against them. So for instance, if I was to look at, sorry, lost my list there, give me a second. So if I were to search on looks like browser, then only the solutions that match that keyword are going to come back to me. And so it's very easy for support reps to go ahead and attach solutions that they might find. So let's say, for instance, if I wanted to include this assembly documentation, and I just click that link, and it's going to automatically inject that solution information into the case for me. And so from an electronic perspective, you can email this off to people, or you can go ahead and create a new solution. Maybe you didn't find one that matched. So from a customer service perspective, you're getting tons of information that way. We talked about being able to easily see the customer's information and really have that 360-degree view. So what I can do is, as a new case pops up, I can actually go look at the customer record. And before I even start working the case, probably this is the best practice to take away, you really should be checking what are the different items that they've purchased. So if I click on sales here, I can see all of the different items that this particular customer has purchased. So I'll maybe be able to see if they have a valid service contract with us and if I should be even talking to them. So that entitlement check. You can also see, what's going on the marketing front. And we talked about web analytics, so I can see if they've been ordering anything online, and that's where you can really close that loop with the e-commerce piece of it. So great visibility from a support perspective. Final role I'm going to go into is the CEO role here, and I'll talk about the marketing reports and the visibility you get as an ender as part of that as well. So now as a CEO, I can see across the entire organization, and you'll notice, again, now I have sales and marketing and expenses and HR and financials available to me because as a CEO, you have access to more information. And you'll notice the KPIs they're tracking are more at the business level. It's not at in the case of the sales rep, it was my forecast. In the case of the regional head, it was my team's. Now in this case, I'm looking as a CEO across the entire organization. And so you can see trend information. Every one of these KPIs you can show as a trend graph as well, so you can look at it on a weekly basis, what's going on with orders. Every CEO, I know that's one of the main things they want to see, how many orders came in, because that pertains directly to revenue. And so that's one of the key things that people tend to track. And the nice thing is that you can add these. There's a ton of pre-canned metrics that come with the application. So if you want to add any of our standard key performance indicators, again, since I'm the CEO, I have a lot more access to these. These are all controlled by permission. So in terms of wanting to make sure that your sales reps aren't seeing information about the financials, for instance, you can lock that down. But you can also create custom ones as well. So maybe there's something that we didn't think of about your business that is particularly important to you. Or that vertical aspect that I talked about. We have a lot of partners who specialize in adding value to the suite by targeting a particular vertical, and they would create custom reports and custom metrics for you to leverage on your dashboard as part of addressing that particular vertical. So that's all included, just point and click, and to add more content, there's a slew of different types of graphs you can add. You can have different lists of information on there. I mentioned the RSS feeds if you want to personalize things. And you might have noticed the color themes have been changing as we went through each of the different roles. That's another thing that you can personalize. You can also change the terminology. Maybe you call your customers clients instead of actually calling them customers. So lots of flexibility to personalize and tailor your workspace, really, as well as track all of the key metrics that are important to your business, which is really where that best practice of having real-time information about your business comes into play. So since we talked about some of the marketing aspects, I'm going to show you some of the one world capabilities on the financial side, and then so basically relating to income, and then talk about running your marketing operation that way as well. So from the income statement here, I'm looking at a consolidated view. So this shows you the entire organization of Nelson Holdings in this case. And you can see that we've got operations in Americas, we've got operations in Asia Pacific, as well as down to EMEA. And so at any point I can drill into this. Let's say I want to look at, I'm talking to my GM in London, and I want to go ahead and see how Europe's doing. And you'll notice that that changed over to pounds now because I drilled into that context. Conversely, I could also look at it across the different subsidiaries. So I want to see it broken out. I want to see, Denmark, Germany, and the United Kingdom that make up my European region as separate columns. I can break that out that way. And if I want to, maybe I'm a very hands-on CEO and I like to call up reps individually and harass them about the discount rate, then I can actually look at things in the same context that Clemens Fritz in Germany was looking at his revenue numbers and see his actual orders that would show up. And again, full drill down from the dashboard all the way through to being able to have that complete information access at your fingertips. So whether you want to see the customer or whether you want to actually drill into a transaction right from the dashboard, you're able to do that. So to end things, let's take a quick look at some of the marketing operations. So we talked about the value of being able to analyze your lead sources, for instance. And again, I can have a global view of my marketing operations to look at how many leads are coming in using the different mediums or the different marketing channels that I leverage, and across time, across the worldwide operations, which channels are performing the best. And this tells me which lead sources in terms of actual numbers, so eyeballs, if you will. But what might be more interesting is to look at this by revenue, right? This is where we talked about the value of having the actual sales as part of your marketing operations. So you can see, true ROI and true revenue for the different channels. And again, so you might have a very different performance in terms of revenue versus eyeballs. And again, you can drill down into this any point in the hierarchy and slice and dice the information. So you're getting a tremendous amount of value by having all your data in one place, and that really is what feeds all of those best practices that we talked about.